Hi everyone, my name is May.
Hi, my name is Michelle Kim.
Hi, I'm Radhika Chatterjee.
Hi, my name is Leah Chang.
I just wanted to start off with my story.
And I'm here to share my story today.
My story is honestly a little bit traumatizing.
Here are my experiences as an Asian American.
My name is Michelle Kim. I am a Terry alumni with a supply chain management degree, and I'm here to share my story today. Being a first-generation immigrant, I felt like I had to work twice as hard to have a taste of the American dream. My family immigrated to Canada when I was 4 years old, and despite my father having a master's in engineering, he worked as a pizza delivery man while going to school to make ends meet. Learning English as a second language caused me to fall behind. I couldn't read until I was 8 years old, and that really negatively impacted my self-esteem. From one of my leadership classes, the topic was, "Without inclusion, there is no diversity." When I tried to share my 2 cents, it was immediately dismissed. When you're in a room full of people who look nothing like you and you get treated as such, it makes you feel like your opinion doesn't matter or that you're insignificant. When I worked at the dining hall, they would get me confused with the other Asian girl despite us having name tags. And again, it was just another instance of where I felt like I didn't matter or that I was insignificant. And I want to be treated as an equal rather than an other or a foreigner. Change starts with myself, which is why I felt inspired to share my story so that my voice can be heard and listened to.
My name is May, and I'm a fourth-year MIS and International Business major here at Terry. My story is honestly a little bit traumatizing. It took me a while to even register this as racism. I was getting mentorship from a partner and a couple business executives at a worldwide company. All was going well. I was learning so much. What can I grab from them? What can I gain just in my business mindset? By the end of the night, I think the executives and partner had a couple drinks. They looked at me and they were just like, yeah, May, did you know that Asian women have looser pussies and that's why they can take pounding more easily? And I don't even know why, but at the time I didn't register as racism, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm learning more about my body because I was here in a mindset of trying to learn. The woman sitting next to me was one of my mentors. She was a white woman and she was a self-proclaimed feminist, and she had done a lot in the workplace to push for that. But then she was like, Asian women are just in the closet whores. It just rubbed me the wrong way because she had seen my work ethic and I'd worked with her a bunch in the past. So I didn't know why she would refer to me like that. So when the spa shootings happened in Atlanta, where the shooter went and targeted multiple Asian-owned businesses, a lot of things started to hit close to home, and a lot of trauma that I had repressed and didn't even realize was bias-based or racist or even misogynistic. I started to uncover a lot of that. And I was like, why didn't that situation at the workplace affect me negatively? And honestly, it's because I've been desensitized. From the start of going to parties in high school and downtown in Athens, I'm always told, oh my gosh, I've never hooked up with an Asian before, can I try one? Oh, hey, Mulan. Because this has been my frame of view and this is the reality I know, I just didn't even register it as anything different. And because these were people that, had some level of power over me in terms of determining my career, I just took what they said as truth. I realized that a lot of similar comments that were said to me, whether it be downtown or honestly even in my accounting class, where I was constantly referred to as a crazy rich Asian for a semester. I just realized that if we don't teach the next generation of leaders that Terry is developing and growing, that these sentiments are just going to be continued to be repeated. And a lot of these biases, people don't even realize they have. We need to be educated on what's acceptable and what's unfair to be viewing someone at, especially in the workplace.
Hi, I'm Radhika Chatterjee. I'm a fourth-year economics and cellular biology major here at the University of Georgia. I just wanted to start off my story with something I'm incredibly proud of, which is my involvement with a Terry-sponsored organization that I helped found. I was on the executive board for 3 years, planning all of our events and reaching out to speakers. However, when the time came around for me to be considered to be the president of the organization, I felt like I was sidelined and hushed. The president at the time told me during an informal, unannounced interview that she thought that my face was not suitable to be the president of the organization, as if there was something wrong with my face. She also told me that she didn't think I could handle being the face of the organization because I tended to be shy, quiet, and busy. And something that I found out was these same sentiments and words are used and echoed all across different industries to describe Asian Americans. Most Asian American people are not considered leaders. I later found out that the person chosen to be president instead of me was someone who had little to no experience, had joined the semester before during a COVID semester and had no in-person experience, yet she was going to leave the whole club in person the following semester. It didn't make any sense to me. When I reached out to the faculty advisor and to the president, they kind of showed as if I was a problem there and that maybe I needed to change my mentality and stop being so power hungry.
Hi, my name is Leah Chang, and I'm a first year studying pharmaceutical sciences at the University of Georgia. Here are my experiences as an Asian American. Racism isn't always as apparent as someone calling me a slur or beating me up because I was Asian. In one of my classes, one of my teachers treated my white peers more as friends and talked to them more. And at the time, I just figured, okay, like she's just hanging out and talking to people she related to more. However, this made me and a lot of other Asian American peers feel isolated and less worthy as a student. This created an in-group where they possibly received more opportunities due to favoritism. My teacher thought Asians would care more about grades in school, so whenever she went up to them, that's all she talked about. But the moment she turned to another student who was white, she immediately started talking about extracurriculars instead. Why must we be treated differently in that aspect? Like, I care about my extracurriculars too. I would love for you to ask me about it. Because she had an unconscious bias of what Asians liked already and what they cared about, my Asian American peers and I didn't feel like we were heard. What I came to realize was that if she's going to choose this teacher friendship dynamic for her students, she needs to choose it for all her students. Because my Asian American friends came out every day feeling like their ideas weren't as heard as other students. While I dismissed my feelings of isolation then, I came to learn now that those feelings were absolutely valid and were a product of discrimination. As an Asian woman, I sometimes feel like I have to live up to this character of being over courteous or docile and say thank you a lot in order to feel more welcome on the team and that my ideas matter. And my friend who was in the class at the time was a more outspoken and straightforward person. She was also Asian American, but she challenged this archetype that my teacher and other peers in my class had of how Asian women should act. She was seen as more aggressive and more mean just for her personality, but it's because they already had this bias of how she should act that they mistreated her. With all this pressure of them talking behind her back or saying that she didn't deserve a leadership position, eventually that led her to leaving the class. And even though she was a fundamental part of the success of this class, this is just a prime example of what happens when you don't accept people for who they are or you enforce your own unconscious biases on them.
I never thought I'd be saying this, but what I realized was, if I don't, then who will? And I hope that my story can inspire people who have gone through similar instances to just reflect and honestly process through a lot of the things that might be repressed. Just because you almost never hear Asians or Asian Americans' narratives included in when we discuss the narrative of people's stories regarding race. Fetishization has happened from the time Asian women were brought into this country. It happens through anime, through media, and it continues to happen. I think without the education, people are never going to register this as a legitimate problem that needs addressing. In addition to the fetishization, other stereotypes are harmful as well. There's the perpetual foreigner stereotype, where I've been told at church, like, wow, your English is so good. How many years have you been in the States? The view that we have of a CEO, a leader, an American even, it doesn't include like an Asian American face in that. And that's an issue because as we lack representation in media and movies, and it starts to affect our view of ourselves in this country and others' views of us. Harvard Business Review found that East Asians who have reported being more dominant in the workforce and taking a lead have been the ones who've been harassed the most. It ultimately takes work on all of our ends to unravel a lot of these unconscious stereotypes that are to no one's fault, but until we're educated on them, we can't actively treat everyone with respect.
According to the Harvard Business Review, Goldman Sachs reported that 27% of the U.S. professional workforce was Asian American, but only 11% of executives and senior managers, and none of its executive officers were. Asian Americans are often not considered leaders and underrepresented when it comes to company leadership. So that's why I think it's really important to bring to light the nuanced discrimination that Asian Americans face.
When you don't accept people for who they are or enforce your own unconscious biases, you lose talent. And These are people that you're going to be working with in the future. There are Asian Americans in your own community, your future coworkers. These are going to be people and perspectives that you need on your team. And as future business leaders of America, I want you to recognize these unconscious biases that you may have about Asian Americans, such as not having qualities of a leader or being quiet and not wanting to share ideas, because those are wrong, and you'll be losing out on a lot of perspectives that will be influential to your business in the future.